Welcome back to the Start Yesterday podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Nate Wilde. I'm excited to be here. This is going to be a great interview. It is a beautiful, beautiful day. Finally, it's been a long winter, but I'm here with my friend, Jeff Griffin, who is amazing. He's so cool. He's a speaker. He's an author. You listed out a lot of those. He's done it all. He's very, very well connected. He is a 2 times Guinness World Record holder. Is that right?
Correct.
He was in the 2004 Paralympics, won a silver medal in the wheelchair basketball, which is so cool. He's a 4-time MVP in you were a 4-time MVP?
So the NBA has the All-Star event in
Yes.
February every year, and the wheelchair NBA kicks it off on Thursday.
Okay.
Wheelchair NBA, 4-time MVP at the All-Star event.
That's amazing. That's so cool. But on top of all of these amazing achievements and amazing current things that you're doing now, your biggest achievement is getting married and staying married for the past 25 years. Congratulations for one on that. That is sensational and beautiful for one. Jeff, I'm stoked to have you. How are you doing today?
You know what? I'm doing amazing. I'm excited to be here. Nate, thank you so much for allowing me to be on your podcast. I love the title of it. Start yesterday. You know, there's a Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree is today. And the second, actually, was 20 years ago. Sorry, excuse me. There's a Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today.
Yeah.
And so I love that title where it's like start yesterday. Because if you put off tomorrow what you can do today, you'll end up with a lot of empty yesterdays.
True. Yeah, that's for sure.
And so who wants to have a life with regret? I love the quote from Sir Winston Churchill that says, to every man, there comes that special moment when he is figuratively tapped on the shoulder and offered a chance special to him and unique to his talents. What a tragedy if that moment finds him unprepared or unqualified for the work, which would be his finest hour.
That quote, I've heard that quote, and I don't know why this isn't like the biggest quote on everything with Start Yesterday, because that is exactly the idea that I'm trying to implement and trying to bring to the audience, is this idea that comes to everybody. And it's something that we are masters at procrastination. We're masters at pushing things off, and doing that never helps. It's without taking leaps of faith, without stepping forward, without doing the small and easy things that every single day start to make a business, start to make something amazing. Right. 20 years down the line, your tree's not planted.
Yeah,
So
you turn around and you're like, what happened here? But again, going back to that tap.
Yes.
Can you look back in your life and see some taps that have come and you were unprepared? You know, for me, when I was a little bit younger, a lot of those taps came when I was dating age, and I was interested in girls and women, and I'm like, I got my eye on that lady. And the tap came when I had an opportunity to impress her or get her attention or go out on a date or whatever. And I was unprepared.
Yeah.
I was unprepared. And how many of those opportunities did I let pass me by until I finally, like, you know what? Forget this. I'm going to be prepared. I'm going to be prepared for this next moment when I get tapped on the shoulder. And, I was, you mentioned I've been married for 25 years, and I always joke, you can't see if you're listening, but I'm a speaker, and I speak all over the world. And I'm in a wheelchair. That's what you can't see. And so I come out on stage, and I address the elephant in the room, which is my wheelchair.
Sure.
And if people, don't recognize that I'm in a wheelchair, they have more problems than I do.
Sure.
But, I was told I would never stand, never move, never walk again. 0% chance of ever doing that from the experts. The experts also gave me a 0% chance of having kids because they were like, it's the first function to go, it's the last to come back. And I always joke that some of the experts told me I'd never get married. Not because of my wheelchair, but just because of who I am.
Oh, man.
But as you mentioned, I've been married 25 years, and we have 4 beautiful biological kids.
That's amazing.
And so going back to this idea of being tapped, start yesterday.
Yeah.
When the moment to perform has arrived, the moment for preparation has passed. So what are you doing to prepare for your moment? And if I could go back and tell my younger 25-year-old self some advice, I'm like, you know what? Just start. Just begin. Just, trust the process. And most of us don't know what the process is.
No. Well, I think that's the issue. And I want to delve into this a little deeper because I feel like this idea of being prepared when the tap on the shoulder comes, I think when we think of, and especially those who are looking to get into the entrepreneurial world, they either look for some way that they can force their way into the entrepreneurial world and just do something that it may not, with no regard to the timing, the vision, and the need of the clients, or people are waiting for the stars to align. I think more often people just wait for everything to be perfect, and they can just stroll in and the business is ready for them, which neither, maybe in a very rare exception, either of those can work and happen. Most often, I think it's this idea of we need to be prepared and start building ourselves, start building what we're doing so that when that tap on the shoulder happens, when the market's right, when the client needs this, you can say, I'm ready. Yeah, let's step up. I know I can bring this value. I can do that. So can we talk to this point specifically of what it looks like to prepare for entrepreneurship and how we approach that?
Absolutely. So, I mentioned before that I speak on stage and I introduce the 3Ds, which I think are at the foundation of every problem. And, the problem isn't the problem, but we like to talk about our problems.
Yeah.
Now, you've got a problem. I've got a problem. But the thing is the problem isn't the problem. Because every problem under the sun has a solution or it has none. If there be one, hurry and find it. If there be none, never mind it.
Ooh.
So what we want to do is we want to identify the solution, right? Okay, you've got a problem. Great, awesome. And hopefully whoever's listening doesn't feel like I'm diminishing your problem. Because I've learned that all pain hurts, no matter the size.
Totally.
So I don't want people to think that I'm diminishing your problem or your pain. But the problem isn't the problem. It's how we look at our problem. Yeah. The problem is how we approach our problem. The problem is how we prepare, to deal with our problems. And so, I'm physically paralyzed, and I was given a life sentence of never walking or moving. But I've learned over these years that most of us, if not all of us, are paralyzed from the demons of doubt, fear, and complacency. And so, as you mentioned, there's a lot of things in there that you mentioned. Some of us are paralyzed from too much information. We're paralyzed from trying to be perfect. We're paralyzed from whatever these things are. We're paralyzed from the fear. But you know what? That fear could be used as fuel if you harness it and bridle it and convert it. Yeah. Fear has a short shelf life. And so I'm saying don't get rid of it. I'm saying don't kill it. I'm saying harness it, use it, convert it, and try to use those emotions that have a longer shelf life. And so we've discovered a 10-step process that helps world record leaders win and have success. And so at the foundation of these problems or your solutions are the 3Ds.
Yeah.
They're the gold nuggets. They're the 3Ds. It's desire, dream, and do. Desire, dream, and do. I think everything falls into those three things. And, we dissect what a desire is. We take a look at the anatomy of a dream. We have some tools and skills that are duplicatable, repeatable, and predictable that work. Yeah. And so that's the do. And so going to the dream, you hear Simon Sinek saying you gotta have a dream. You gotta have other people say you gotta know your why. You have Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins and all these motivational people out there saying you gotta know your dream, you gotta know your why, but they don't ever tell you how. Yeah. To come up with your dream.
That's true.
Right? They're just like, yeah, you just gotta know. And one thing I've learned and discovered, there's a simple step that helps you if you're struggling knowing what you want. We have a simple step, like within 10 minutes, we can figure out what your dream is. We're not going to deal with that right now, but within 10 minutes you can. A lot of times it takes about 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 120 minutes to kind of flesh that out because we've never dealt with it.
No.
You know, the story of Nelson Mandela, no matter where you stand politically or whatnot, you know, Nelson Mandela in his own book, you know, talked about the demons inside his head and the demons that he was dealing with. And he was fighting, and, you know, that's what got him into prison. He blew up some stuff. Yeah. But he was in that prison. We talk about the injustice of him being in prison for more than 20 years. But in that silence, he found out who Nelson Mandela was. He found out what Nelson Mandela could do. Yeah. He found out what Nelson Mandela's dream was. So we've got to spend some time in the silence that is deafening to a lot of us.
That's the truth. I think it's this point of really truly knowing and understanding who you are, what your dream is something we don't have right now. I think more than ever we're kind of I don't want to say this to overgeneralize too hard, but I'm probably going to anyways. But I feel like we're kind of a society where being a sheep, being a follower, is real easy, if not encouraged and taught to a certain extent.
Step in.
Yes. That's different. That's unique. Don't do
push.
that. Yeah.
Don't push the crowd. Don't rock the boat.
Which is, I think what that does is it really, one of the things, and I think that school is amazing. I think it's very, very beneficial. And I think that college, primary school, whatever you want to do and be a part of, is crucial and helps so many people. But one of the things that frustrated me the most with it was I felt like creativity and personal expression was really was kind of pushed down.
Yeah.
And I think this idea of learning who you truly are, learning your desires, your dreams for yourself, not because other people are saying you should be a doctor, you should do this, you need to be here, but because you know, I'm really good at this. I love waking up and doing this. If I had to do something every single day for the rest of my life, this is what it would be. Mm-hmm. If you can know that,
you're rich.
Game over. You're rich. Yeah, that's it. That's honestly, that kills everything.
You're rich. You're absolutely 100%. And so again, what's interesting is, you know, most of us don't know what we want.
Yeah.
And the majority of us know what we don't want. And so we continue to focus on what we don't want. But the sad truth is where our focus goes, our energy flows. You know, if people are focused on, I don't want to be fat, I don't want to be poor, I don't want to be, you know, alone, or whatever it might be, whatever your I don't want. But, you know, it's kind of like, don't think of an elephant.
Thinking about elephants.
Absolutely, man. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. And so if you continue to think about what you don't want, you're going to continue to get that. So if we continue to focus on our problems, what are we going to have? Problems, baby.
All day.
And here's what the industry have figured out. If I can introduce the problem to you, and then give you the solution, and then give you the tools, I've just created a business. Which I don't like that model.
It's manipulative.
Yeah, absolutely. But and so, because life would be so much more rich and more colorful and more beautiful if we focused on finding the solutions instead of creating problems to get rich.
Absolutely.
But I'm not against getting rich. I love money. I love the finer things of life. But what I love the most is helping people find that song that sings to their soul, to helping them find that dream, to help them find that mountain they want to climb, to help them, you know, orchestrate that song that sings to their soul, and chase down their dreams. And we know how to do it. We know how to do it. We know that there's a process. It's simple. It's just not easy. And one of the first things you need to do is you got to know what you want. You got to know what you want, because there's going to be a ton of people out there trying to get you to fulfill their dream.
Yeah.
Come and fulfill my dream. You know, you're talking about school. I'm going to push back a little bit. I've got my master's degree in education and curriculum, and I would say that the system is broken. The system is very much broken, and it teaches us how to regurgitate, not to think.
Yes.
And
Definitely.
if George Bernard Shaw is accurate, he says that 2% of the population think, 3% of the population think they think, and 95% of the population would rather die than think. And I've been witnessing that for the last 3 years, where people are like, I'm willing to die than think for myself. You tell me what to do. You tell me what I can do. You tell me when I can march. You can tell me when I can take a step. You tell me when I can go outside. You tell me what I can put on my face. You tell me what I can put in my body. And so, again, we have a lot of these protests out there, and people are out there protesting. Like, why are you protesting? I don't know. They told me I'm supposed to do this. So we're so good at getting people to think what we want, or to do what we want. And so going back to, are you able to think? Are you able to be prepared for that tap that's going to come to you? Are you going to put forth the effort and make the choice that you're going to trust in the process, because it's the process that helps you progress, and it's not the promise. But so often we abort the process and focus on the promise, but it's the process that helps us progress. And so do we have a process in place? Well, I don't. Okay, well, guess what? There's people who do.
Yeah.
Who can help you.
Definitely.
And then you're like, well, I don't know what I want. Okay, well, there's people who can help you. There's 3 lies we tell ourselves. And I think the 3 lies that we tell ourselves the most is, I'm not good enough. Nate might be good enough. Joe might be good enough. Jessica might be good enough, but I'm not good enough. You got the degree. You were born on the right side of the tracks. You have the right color skin. Whatever those things are that we've been telling ourselves, you have the ability, but I don't. That's lie number 1. Because the truth is, Nate, we all have the ability to achieve our dreams and desires. We come from infinite intelligence. We all have the DNA of deity. And so, do we believe that? Do we know that? And if so, then we can go out there and conquer the world. We can go out there and create what we want, what we desperately desire. And so that's lie number 1. Lie number 2 is, I don't have the tools or skills. I don't have the right resources. That's the biggest lie out there. It's the biggest bunch of crap, man. Everyone who's listening on their cell phone or watching on the computer, they have more access to information than the President of the United States did back in 1992.
Right there.
Right there. I know people who are making 6 figures on just their phones, doing nothing. Why? People think it's nothing, but they're making 6 figures.
Yeah.
And it's not a matter of resources, it's a matter of resourcefulness.
Yeah.
And are we being resourceful? And then the 3rd lie is, I can do it myself. Entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, I can do it myself.
Doesn't work that way.
We can do a lot on our own, but we can't do as much as we possibly can unless we do it with a team. Team really does mean together everyone achieves more. And so if we can eliminate those lies, stop lying to ourselves, and start telling the truth. Once you start telling the truth, things start to fall into place. You start to become in alignment. And sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes the truth isn't what we're doing. Sometimes the truth we're unaware of. And so that's why it's important to get a coach. That's why it's important to get somebody who's done it before. That's why it's important to start yesterday, for that moment when you are tapped on the shoulder.
I love that. I love the bringing it back to this whole thing. And these 3 lies we tell ourselves, I wish we had another hour to delve into, because that is crucial. That is so accurate, and it's so not true, the things we're telling ourselves. I'll throw this out to everybody. I talk about this book a lot because I love it and I read it almost every day. The lies you just talked about. Have you ever read the book The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles?
Yes.
Yes. That one, I think, addresses those very specifically. So if you want to delve in a little bit more into that, go read that book. I think also Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is totally just debunking these fallacies. So again, I wish we had so much more time to talk about this, because we're hitting on things that are so crucial here. But for the sake of time, let me throw this your way. If people want to connect with you, and obviously everything that Jeff has been sharing is sensational, and Jeff has amazing books that he just gave me, and I'm so excited to read.
Yeah.
If people want to check those out, see what you're working on, connect with you, where can they go to find that?
If you go to griffinmotivation.com, Griffin, it's like the mythical beast. I like to think of myself as, Griffin is a half lion, half eagle. I like to think of myself as a mythical beast, but my wife reminds me, like, you're neither a beast nor mythical. But what's interesting, you mentioned the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. After I wrote my book in 2005, which was one of my greatest accomplishments because I got D- in 6th grade. And my English teacher in high school told me I'd never write a comprehensive sentence in my life. And so when I wrote this book in 3 months, I'm like, how did I get here? How did I become, a 2-time Guinness World Record holder? How did I become a 4-time MVP? How did I get married when I was told I couldn't get married? How did I have 2 kids at that time? How did I go to the Olympics? How did, I get up out of my chair? And so I went and looked at this. I'm like, how did I do this? And I discovered some flecks of gold that I put in my book. And so the title's I'm Possible, Desire, Dream, Do. But the principles in there were almost identical to Think and Grow Rich. And I'm like, holy crap, people are going to think I plagiarized this. And I had never come across Napoleon Hill's book until after I had written my own. But I think that Napoleon and I have been cut from the same place, and I wish he was around so I could hang out with him.
Amen.
But I get to learn from him. But if you go to my website and grab my books, you get 2 books. Shipping is free. And just to throw out a little bit of love to your listeners, if you use the coupon code LOVE, LOVE, we'll knock off 50%. So you're getting buy one get one free shipping. It is a deal. And I like to say that it is a quick read. It's very similar to The Richest Man in Babylon, as in it's a simple read like that, but it's very powerful. The principles that you'll find in there, and so yeah, go to griffinmotivation.com. In fact, if you go to the contact page and type in possible in the subject line, I will send you the possibility principle, which is the footings that the foundation sits on.
Yeah. Dang. Well, thank you, number one, for the love for the audience, because that means a lot to me as the person trying to bring that to them. So go check this out, guys. Obviously, this whole conversation has been amazing, and Jeff has sensational approaches to things. So let me ask you then, as a closing thought, can you give me just a short final piece of advice for our audience?
Yeah. Just don't quit. People don't know what success is. A lot of times we can define what it is by what it isn't. Whenever I ask people what the opposite of success is, they say failure. And that's not it.
No.
I've never met anyone who has not failed their way to success. In fact, give yourself permission to fail, because failures at first are triumphs at last, as long as you just don't quit.
Amen.
And that's, I believe, is the opposite of success, is to quit or not even try.
I agree with that. Jeff, thank you so much for this entire conversation. It's been amazing. Appreciate having you.
Appreciate it, Nate. I appreciate it. This is great. There is power in organized effort. Thank you for organizing this.
Amen.